Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to another exciting episode of Psychology Talks. And today we're going to discuss, which is often not very discussed very openly. And we've seen that for generations, men have been taught to stay silent, and they've been taught that they need to be strong enough and not to show that when they are going through any challenges, or not to seek help because it is seen to be a sign of weakness. But this silence actually accumulates and it becomes a burden, and it turns the strength into isolation, which has a severe negative consequences. So today we're going to discuss these real struggles of men in today's world. And I'm so honored to be joined by Mr. Shawn Lesser, the founder of the Real, a global mental health movement built on the conversation, community, and the capital. And this is what makes it very different, is that it is based on the lived experience, not just the theory. So anyways, thank you so much for joining us, Shawn. It is an honor to have you with us.
And Brayden, it's great to be on your show. I appreciate it. Great to see you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I know that your journey is really inspiring, and the way you faced all those struggles and and experiences, and turn your challenges into strength. But before we delve into all these and to share discuss all these struggles and then your journey, just
Mhm.
tell us a bit about yourself and introduce yourself to our audience.
Sure. So I'm Shawn Lesser, the founder of The Real, and maybe I give you just a little background also from a business standpoint of view. So I live in Atlanta, Georgia, in the U.S., but I'm originally from New York. And then after school, I did 15 years. I did international institutional equity sales. What that means in English is I sold stocks to banks overseas. And then in 2007, I co-founded the first impact investing investment bank. Impact investing, make money, do good. I am also a dad. I am a husband, and I have a 17 and 18-year-old.
Wow, that sounds amazing. That yeah, but I know that you build this community, you achieved lots of things in your life based on your experience, which were not very easy. It was very challenging, very difficult. Just tell us about your journey, that what struggles you face and what made you who you are today.
Sure. So maybe I give you a little background on the real and how that started. So I had depression from time to time, 20s, 30s, 40s. It would come, it would go. But this specific time, it was September of 22. I was depressed. I had trouble eating. I had trouble sleeping. I lost 40 pounds, which is wonderful, but I was not on a diet. And then depression was growing. It was December 19th. It was a Wednesday. Kind of came to a head, had like a full mental breakdown, not functioning, can't speak, suicidal, telling my wife, I don't want to be here anymore. Please freaking kill me. So, most wives don't want to hear that. Some might, but not my wife. I'm just joking. But we don't know what to do. So we end up going to the emergency ward in Atlanta, and they start asking you all these questions. Yeah. So I think you're in the business, so you're probably familiar with this, Embry, a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then they said to me, "Do you want to get checked into the ward, the psych ward?" I don't know what this means, but I know I want to go somewhere. So I pack up my sound machine, my computer, my eye mask, the things I usually use, and I went over there. And as you know, which I didn't really know, you can't have any of those things. You can't even have a string in your pants. So I was there for 2 days. Got out, went home, wanted to go back to work at the company I co-founded, had two partners. Sometimes things that work out with partners. My partners bought me out of my firm. That's wonderful. I got some money. But more importantly to me was my company was my whole identity, my whole life, my whole existence. And then I felt deeper depression. I started shaking. It was kind of wacky. And then another guy came into the story. His name is Brent. Me and him, our kids played Little League Baseball together here in the U.S. And then he was friendly with my wife, not too friendly, but he was friendly. So my wife texted him, basically said, Sean's in a bad place. He came back right away and he had all the right questions. Is he in a safe place? This is happening to a lot of people, especially guys. Something similar happened to him. So he became what I call now, if you think of Alcoholics Anonymous, you have a sponsor, basically a buddy. So my mental health sponsor. So walking, talking, hanging out. And then I went away to two treatment centers, one in California, one in Florida. Take away your phone, therapy all day, and how the reel started and how the name came about. And now it's going on about 3 years. Me and Brent, where you were talking on the phone when I got back, and was saying, that was serious, that was real. I said, yeah, man, that was real. I said, that's what we're going to call it. We're going to call it the real. And then he said to me, well, what is it? Which is a natural question. And of course, I said, I have no idea, but I know there's a lot of men, women, and families suffering, and I think we can help. So there's more to the story, but that gives you a little flavor of how this journey started.
Yeah, I mean, because I mean, your struggles are real, and what made your journey inspiring and special is that lot of people are actually struggling and facing the same challenge, and they've been facing it in silence, and there is no one to speak to. So that's what make it more difficult. But tell us a bit about your journey, your struggles. That what was exactly the moment that that made you realize that you can't just keep going on like this. You can't carrying all this alone.
So it wasn't like one point and this happened or that happened. For me, it was just a kind of combination platter of things. And it also wasn't anything that everybody kind of faces, right? It was,
Yeah.
okay, work, partners, kids getting older. Who am I? What am I? And I think, especially for me, when I really wasn't sleeping, I mean, of course I was sleeping, and I really wasn't eating well, the whole system kind of, it just cracked and broke, and my brain was not working. But none of these things were, oh, this is so unusual. And I also would say, I call it, I was at a 10, which is a bad place, but every single human on the planet is at a 204, a 6, or an 8 at some time. That's just, you're a human. That's what's going to happen. And I would also say, men versus women. Men meet shoulder to shoulder. Women meet face to face. They obviously both have issues, no doubt. But most guys, I'm just stereotyping, are loners, and they don't want to talk about this stuff, which is fine. But that's just how it kind of goes. Did someone ask me a question? I see.
I don't know. I think that I lost your voice. I think no. It's just that people are actually sharing that they are from Pakistan, I guess, and people are joining and then asking.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, keep.
And I would say also that's interesting because we have this organization now, and I'm happy to get into it more. But the really cool thing about the organization is we have people from over 500 countries, and we have these people that are, we call them ambassadors, are the guys, and allies are the women, and we have over 1,100 people. I think the also is, it doesn't matter where you sit on the planet. It doesn't matter, what you believe, what color. None of this matters, right? Because this is the human condition. So it's really cool when we bring the people together, and all those things fade away. It's just people trying to help people.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this initiative and I'm so proud to be part of it. I'm so
Oh yeah,
glad
yeah.
that I joined this. Yeah, because this is something that's really close to my heart. And mental health is something that lots and lots and lots of people are suffering at this moment.
Oh,
But
100%.
nobody talks about it. Nobody actually shares that, they need some help. Nobody talks about it that the other person needs some help. It's just like keeping it under. But I think that these kind of communities, these kind of conversations are much needed to break the stigma. And I'm so glad that you're doing this initiative. You're taking this initiative, forming the community, keeping people together, and talk about it more, and giving them some space to share that
Mhm.
they are not alone, and it is not a weakness. To be honest, it is something that as you said, that every human goes through these kind of experiences, these kind of emotional states, which is normal. Some
Sure.
may feel it a little less, but some may feel it a little, like, like I would say they would feel it a bit more,
Yeah,
and there is nothing wrong about it. So, yeah.
I
So
agree.
I
And
just,
then I was going to
yeah,
say, and sometimes
no,
when
no,
people say you are not alone, in my mind, it's also you're in the majority, right? It's not even like you're alone. It's just like yeah, everyone's
absolutely.
going to feel this is the human condition.
Absolutely. And you brought a very good point that, like, men actually walk shoulder by shoulder, and when women meet, it's face to face. It it really makes a big difference, because usually when mental health comes, people treat men and women quite equally, which is not the need, or which is not the requirement. They need to be, especially when as a psychologist, or especially when we provide some help to men,
Mhm.
we need to be more proactive, even to get the things out, even because when men suffer from depression, they wouldn't reach out
Right.
somehow. And I also usually tell to a lot of my colleagues and my friends that as women, we need to actually reach out to the family member who are men, if finding out more.
Mhm.
And they may not actually appreciate it, but we need to tackle it very tactfully. So anyways, so you tell us that, being a man, what do you think that how to deal with this kind of situation, and especially when we are dealing with men who are
Sure.
not easy to open up, or who are not seeking help, how we can
Sure.
solve this problem?
Yeah, sure. So a couple of things. First, I would say the real is not therapy, but it's therapeutic, right? And I
Yeah.
also think women and men, they talk differently and they have a different language. And we had some women that are part of the real, and they said, "Oh, the real is a place where guys can share their feelings." And when they said that, I kind of wanted to throw up because guys don't talk like that, right? Well, guys will say, I got through some challenges. I had some, shit, whatever. So it's just normal. Men and women don't talk the same way. So to talk to a woman the way you speak to a man, or a man to speak to a woman around this, it's just a different way that people communicate. And even with the real, we'll have all these ambassadors and allies, and I'm so happy that you're an ally. So a couple of things that we do, for example, every third Wednesday of the month, we have this thing called speed friending. So this Wednesday we probably have like 100 guys on a call, and we break up into rooms. But you don't always have to talk about mental health. You talk about other stuff. It doesn't matter, right? It's not like, oh, tell me all your issues. It's more like, hey, you're just having a conversation, and you have a place where, hey, you want to talk about business? That's cool. You got someone's bothering you? That's cool. It's so I think it's positioning it differently, or just looking at it differently. Again, men and women both have issues, and I think it's also when so many times I will give a talk, or I'll have a phone or a conversation. Person will say to me, Shawn, I never told anyone this, but right, and then they tell me their story, and I'm like, okay, I'm not really surprised, because it's everyone, right? So if you ask
Yeah.
someone, hey, we had our event the other day, men and women, and we said, hey, if a family member or friend has been negatively affected by mental health, raise your hand. Uh,
Yeah.
Everyone raised their hand, and every room I've been in across the planet, everybody raises their hand. If someone's not raising their hand, they're lying. So
Absolutely.
this is whatever. This is human. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. And I think that's really good that you're doing it, that not labeling it as mental health, and just having a conversation, because most
Sure.
of the time people actually, and especially when in this digital era, in this age of information, when we are so much connected, but the thing is that we are so disconnected with actually ourselves. We are more isolated as compared to the times when we were not so much connected digitally. So I think we need to break that kind of isolation and bring people together to just talk about it. Because what I've seen that like a lot of studies that have been done on depression and loneliness, they're
Mhm.
like interrelated, they're correlated. So
Of
when
course,
people
of course.
are feeling lonely, they tend to develop depression because I think humans are social beings. They
Sure.
need another human being to
Sure.
share, or sometimes not share everything, but share the vibes. Just being there is really important.
Yeah,
So
because
yeah,
stuff gets stuck in your head, and you just got to let it
abs-
out. It doesn't even matter what you're really saying lots of times, or sometimes when you're not feeling good, you don't even need to have a conversation. Just someone else hanging out with you, right? That's
absolutely.
that's that's the medicine, which is we've got all these types of medicines, but the other thing is it's very simple. And even when I was talking about, hey, you have a mental health sponsor, basically a buddy, it works both ways. One day I'm helping you, the next day you're helping me. And the other nice thing is when you share with someone or you help them, it helps you, right? Because they're
Yeah.
struggling and you're like, oh, dude, I mean, I think it's more like, I know exactly how you feel, right? You don't want to take a shower, you don't want to get out of bed, and you have other thoughts. And when someone can talk to you and say, dude, I know exactly how you feel. Therapists are great, but I think that's just relating to other people. It calms you down.
Yeah, absolutely. We are having very good comments here. Somebody is actually asking that what is this platform? So this platform is a Psychology Talks. It's a live podcast where I invite people from different fields and we discuss about psychology, mental health, neuroscience. And he's also Latifa. She's also asking that, are you a psychologist? Yes, I'm a psychologist. I'm also pursuing PhD in neuroscience. So Christopher is appreciating the reel. Thank you, Christopher,
Thanks,
for
Christopher.
sharing this. Shermeen is saying that it's really great that having overcome those challenges, you're willing to share so candidly. I truly appreciate it because it is the way that we actually develop the conversation and initiate the conversation.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Usman is also saying that it's much needed conversation. Even many men just don't even find it easy to talk to someone. That's so true, and that's why we are having these conversations to break the
Sure.
stigma.
Sure, because
Rania
people
is
go, oh, go ahead, keep
yeah,
going.
no, no, yeah, there's actually so many comments. So I was just saying, so yeah, Reina Halab is saying that it's very important to people, for people to feel safe to share, as creating this space for people for conversation and express already helps a lot. Absolutely, absolutely. There's another comment by Sharmeen that what and perhaps more appropriately, how you think we can get more men involved in these conversations. Women tend to be more expressive, but men are isolated and not very communicative. So yeah, I think this is a question that how we can engage more men into this
Sure,
conversation.
sure. So I was going to say two things. So at the real, I don't think this is like a guy thing, right? Because
Yeah.
also it's a yin and the yang. So what do women want? I don't know, Ambreen, but I know they want healthy guys. So at the real, men are the ambassadors, women are the allies, and is there a deep reason why? I don't know. I just first we had the ambassadors, then I thought, oh, allies are cool. Nothing deeper than that. But really, the men and the women do the same thing. So I was talking about the men having this call, uh, and the women do the same thing, right? They have their own call. And the other thing that we do, I didn't bring it up, is once a month, the third Saturday every month, we do this thing called the Real Walk. Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
basically, men and women across the planet, it'll be this Saturday. They go for a walk. Why? Because there's a lot of isolation. There's a lot of loneliness. Lots of times they'll get the hat or a shirt or something. But it also, even though I call it the real walk, people do other activities. Like someone's like, "Can I play tennis? Can I walk my dog? Can I go fishing? Can I?" Some lady was like, "I'm reading a book." It doesn't matter, right? You're just being a part of something, right? So that's 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 the real. Those are some of the activities that we do just to get people engaged. And some people are walking alone. It's fine. Just to be. People also want to be part of something. So the real is a global mental health movement.
Yeah, I love this idea that, just taking some action actually is the antidote of inaction, and
Sure.
inaction is the main cause of like depression and something. Because when, as you were saying, that when somebody is depressed, they just don't want to do anything. It actually creates more inaction. Like people become so hard to move, because it seems that
Sure.
there is a heavy burden on them. It's they just can't move, and getting them out to do something is the first step, I think. So I think this is
Sure.
again a
And
very good thing. Yeah.
and I would also say the real is it's not like, oh, we're only working with people who are depressed, right? It's more, hey, no matter where you are, this is just a good thing. So you don't have to be in extreme case. It's just, hey, this is just healthy to go for a walk, meet people, and we have so many amazing people in the real that there's also a lot of networking. They're doing business together, so wonderful, terrific. And we also have we have an app that we're bringing out, and I would say this app is the opposite of AI. I'm all for AI, right? Oh, super cool, but this is where literally you're in Saudi, so that people in the future, they can, if I go over to Saudi, I can see, oh, Ambrine's here in Saudi, or people from different parts of the world, they can actually see the ambassadors and allies. And that's happening a lot, where people, we had one guy in Norway, he's coming to Minneapolis, he wants to meet people. So there's a lot of cross, I don't know, pollination, I guess, both men and women.
Yes. Yeah, I think this is very much needed. And I think Reina has already said this, like what you were saying, that, it's this is where the real, we go on what we call real walk every
Mhm.
third Saturday in the month for men
Yep.
and women to walk together, to connect and share. I think this is something that very much needed. I would just say,
It's very simple.
especially lot.
Like,
It's very simple. That's
okay.
true, but yeah, it has a big impact. I'm
Sure, sure.
sure that for how long you've been like running these kind of activities, or
Sure, sure. We started it, well, we started the reel a while back, but the real walk, now it's maybe going on maybe 18 months, maybe 2 years. And then
Mm,
the other thing that people do is, I think they'll get the hats, they get a shirt, right? So I also see the other goal of the reel is, how do you make the invisible visible?
yeah,
So in that essence, wearing a hat or a shirt or whatever it is, and you don't have to wear these things, but where someone's walking down this, think in the future, you're walking down the street, someone wears the hat, they see you, you see them, you don't have to say anything. Mental health affects people. So it's
yeah,
also a brand in that sense. So our goal there is to have 1,000,001 people wearing the brand by 2030.
yeah.
So, and then sometimes companies now are co-branding it, or I spoke to Home Depot today, and they might want to do a walk with their company and put Home Depot on it. So again, simple stuff.
Yeah, yeah, but these simple impact, as I said, the simple acts or these simple things creates a big impact. So I
Sure,
think
sure.
these are exactly what we're missing out nowadays, especially like people are more on gadgets, more digitally connected, and
Hmm.
it has really a negative consequence. Like, when people are actually go on their Insta or Facebook, where people are posting some happy pictures, and when they actually can see that, oh my God, what's happening, even they might be posting some very happy or like,
Sure.
pictures, but they deep down they are actually having these kind of struggles which no one knows, and
Yeah.
they don't find the place where they can actually share these struggles or something. So here one thing that it's you've taken this initiative, but have you ever found some kind of challenge, or when you say that, okay, you can't do these things, and where you want to do, or when you want to help people, but you got kind of a backlash on that? So do you remember any of these kind of event or something?
Oh, I mean, people giving a backlash on the reel on what we're doing.
Yeah, yeah, because it's
Well,
sometimes they don't take it very
well, a couple
positively.
of things. Sometimes I look at myself and be like, what are you doing? Like, what is this? What are you doing? And does this make sense? And why am I doing this? So I'll have these kind of doubts in my mind. It'll come, it'll go, but this is normal too. I'm like, okay, this is also, in essence, this is a startup. And then I don't have a ton of backlash. I would tell you just some interesting things. So Most of this is done on LinkedIn. That's where most, because I kind of live on LinkedIn. So, and I don't really like pitch or try to sell the real, but I'll be having conversations with people, and they might say, hey, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I want to post a picture, and they can put it on their LinkedIn if they want. They don't have to. And I'm like, you do whatever you want. They say, I think this might be bad for my business, but here's the kind of funny thing. Lots of times that happened, then someone would say, again, I'm not convincing them, but they're like, okay. And then they take a picture, they post it, and they're like, Shawn, you don't understand. This was the best thing for my business. So many people came to me. So I've had that. I haven't had, I think it's also this period of time. I think the doors open to these things. And maybe if it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, it'd be more difficult, but you're hearing about this all the time. So I'm not getting some blowback in my brain, but other than that, no. But it's really interesting when people get part of it, or you might even see that. I make a post to the people. People might have reached out to you, right, to say, hey, I'm an ambassador, I'm an ally, how you doing? So, but no, I haven't got tons of
the
backlash.
negativity.
But maybe as it grows, that's natural. You're going to get some backlash. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, well, but that's true. Like people are getting more open to it, and they are accepting it as it's this, because the more we talk about it,
Sure.
it kind of like create more awareness, and it breaks the stigma and something like this. Yeah.
Snowball.
So yeah. So just tell us about that. If someone is actually going through depression or this kind of loneliness, what should give us some practical tips that how they can deal with it?
Sure. And I am not a therapist. I do not.
Yeah, but based on your definitely. But based on your experience,
what helped me a lot. Yeah, because I was in these different places. So it was more, how do you change the lens in your glasses? If you want to sit on a mountain and you want to meditate, that's totally cool. But it was, to me, it was not like big things, it was little things, such as, and they always say this, you're enough, you're not enough. But what does that really mean? But to know that you just being yourself is enough. It's hard to ingrain that, but if you can kind of have that thought process. Another thing is just that thoughts are like clouds, right? They kind of come and go because we get so lost in all these different thoughts that are going on, and your thoughts aren't you, even though you put so much into them. These are just little things to think about. A therapist said a great thing to me once. She said, Shawn, do you have a time machine? And I was like, no, mine's broken. But sometimes we'll ruminate on things, thinking about them over and over, and shoulda, coulda, woulda, why didn't I do this, right? And because we think somehow we can have a time machine, but we don't, even though we think we do. Another important thing for me was what I call the comparathon. Yeah. So the comparathon is comparing myself to others. And I still do these things a little bit. I try not to. I'm not perfect, right, at all. But when you compare yourself to others, it just never works out good, right? And you also don't see, you might see someone, oh, they got a giant house and this and that and that. But I've spoken to so many people now, it doesn't matter, because if you're in that house, there's still things going on. So the comparathon, and then one more thing, and I'll be quiet. And then the other thing is, and I wrote a little post about this today because I was feeling this way, is who do we treat the worst? And it happened to me this morning. I was in a fight. I was in a horrible fight with somebody, and they were about my size. They looked like me, and it was myself, right? So who do we fight with the most? Who do we treat the worst? It's usually ourselves. So to try to treat ourselves a little bit better. But this is all trial and error. These are just some things that help me just looking at things a little differently.
Yeah, I think these are very great tips that we just need to change our perspective, right? Because these challenges which we see that, okay, we are the one that this is happening to us only. These are the thoughts that usually come to the mind. Sure. When we are going into the depression, that why it's happening to me. I think this is something that this is the burden we can't just take anymore. And that's how it goes deeper and deeper. And then in order to, as you said, to deal with all these thoughts is just that we need to realize that it's normal.
Hmm.
It's not something that it's happening to us only, or it's happening
Sure.
to you. People, everyone goes through it,
Yeah.
and there is nothing wrong about it. So
Hmm.
first of all, I think this is the main thing that we need to just realize, and we need to, when we actually especially go through the depression or something. So
Yeah, and
that's
sometimes you'll
really
beat
important.
yourself about not feeling well. It goes,
Yeah.
it's like a cycle, like I'm beating myself about thinking about not being, yeah, it just kind of gets these layers in your mind.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And the best way, I mean, as like what you already doing it, is really sometimes when you are stuck or something is stuck in the mind, the best way, like as like knowing that how the neuroscience work and how the psychology and mind work, is that you start walking, at least
Sure,
walking
sure,
or writing or something. This is something
sure.
that's really helpful in that when you actually, because it changes, mind and body are connected,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
When the mind is not working,
Hmm.
when you start moving your body, eventually your mind will also start working. So
Sure,
this is
sure.
how it works. So I think these are the things that people can also think that when they are going through it, and especially so
And I would
yeah,
also say with the real, it's also about people just checking on other people,
yeah,
and it doesn't have to be good. Dude, how you
yeah,
doing? Write a text or WhatsApp, whatever. I just, hey, I'm checking on you, or just give somebody a call, right? Because you don't know what's going on the other side. You just
absolutely,
have no idea, and just sometimes a simple thing, be like, oh, that
yeah,
really helped me, even though it's something you think, oh, that's small. But
absolutely,
just checking on folks, and that's lots of people in the real. I don't. There's so many people now. I don't know what's going on, which is good. There's whatever. I don't know, thousands of things
yeah.
going on all the time, which is great. But people are checking on other people. People are doing business. People are going to meet each other. So, uh, all kinds of things.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Especially like when we talk about men specifically,
Hmm.
they have more pressure to be strong and something. So, and they are sometimes in the position of a leadership position, right? It's
Sure.
not only that they have to take care of the family, but they have to take
Yeah.
care of the team as well.
How are
So
they going to look
especially,
to everybody?
yeah,
Blah, blah, blah.
absolutely. So what do you think, especially based on your experience and the way you are, like, especially when you maybe must have been listening all those kind of stories, what do you think, especially the pressure is more on that side also, maybe like for women also, especially when you are in the business environment, when you are leading your team, when you are leading your company or something, especially like you mentioned that when you faced when you had these depression, your partners kicked you out. So this was, of course, I'm sure it must have been very difficult to experience this, because this was something that you co-founded, and you were
Sure.
out because of, like,
Sure.
because you were unable to perform. So what do you think, how to deal with these kind of challenges in their lives?
Well, that goes more to, and I would argue, like I was able to perform, but we'll go to a different fight later.
uh,
Is your identity, right? You're
yeah,
talking about your identity. You're talking about two subjects, but identity. Who are you? What am I? I'm this co-founder of this company, and now I'm not. My phone's not ringing, right?
yeah,
Especially guys. Or I was an athlete, and now I got hurt. Who am I? What am I without this?
yeah,
Right? Or I retire, or whatever it is. There's some transition. That's very hard. I'm sure it's hard on women. I think it's even harder on men because men are associated with these things, and then it's hard to think like, no, you're more than that. But hey, what's the first thing you ask somebody? Hey, what do you do? So it's trying to uh, understand that you're more than that, even though it's hard to get there lots of times. And then the other subject you were talking about is like the leaders and stuff. What I found is when you're honest with even if you have a team, I think people always want to help people. And I think if you're a leader and you kind of let's call it, take down your guard, people won't move away. You think they will. It's the
yeah,
opposite. They will come towards you, right? They'll be like, oh, that person is a real person, not a robot, and I want to work harder, better, whatever, with that person because they understand that these are humans. So it's I've seen this where it's actually has the opposite effect. And oh, you don't want to look weak. Well, you're looking. I'm not saying you're looking weak because you're not showing any weakness, but everyone has something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
people will move towards you, especially when I put out. I saw this when I put out a message. When I started to realize, put out a message. I was in a bad place, starting to realize. I hit the button, yeah, to around 30,000 people on LinkedIn, mostly finance people, and so many people came back. So many people, super supportive, right? And then
Yeah.
people calling me because hey, I'm helping them. So it's just an interesting dynamic that I know people think I gotta look this way, but I think actually you'll get better employees if you go. You don't have to tell them all your woes, but if you go the other way and they see that you're a human, then they're going to be like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna help this person.
Yeah, I think authenticity is really important and
Yeah.
being genuine. You need to be,
Yes.
you don't need to just fake everything.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
yeah, this is
Right.
really interesting. And I think that's how people can like more relate, right?
Mhm.
That you
Yeah.
know that you, if because everybody goes through certain phases, certain
Yeah. Of
challenges
course.
in life. And when you show them that like your vulnerability is not making you weak, actually, it making you more human because I think we
Yes.
all, as humans, are vulnerable. We all
That's why the real
go.
is growing, right? Because it's
Yeah,
like okay, and I think there's a yearning for a space just to be like, hey, you can just be yourself. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's more like, hey, if you got an issue, it's fine. You just be yourself, whatever.
yeah,
You don't have to put on a face. You're just here, and it comes from the space of yeah, everyone's got something or whatever, and that's fine. Uh, that's the simple thought process.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Rina has a really good comment that this is where the question shifts from why is this happening to me to why is this happening for me? Shifting perspective and reaching out to someone you trust. Yeah, that's definitely is the thing.
I
And
would.
there's a yeah. So
Keep going.
sorry, go.
Let's no.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
there's another comment actually by Shermeans. I wanted to. I think we should help people to learn how to develop themselves outside of their profession or career. Very good point. Those things are what you don't need. You don't do who you don't actually do who not who you are. Yeah, yeah. Very good
Mhm.
point, Shermeen. Absolutely. Yeah. So you were
And
saying something to
oh, I was going
Rena.
to say something. These things are not always bad, right? Even though you say I don't
Absolutely.
feel good, because if I look back, right, and I was in this bad state, blah blah blah, and at that moment, oh yeah, this was the worst experience of my life. But now looking back, and this happened to me a lot in my life, is oh, was that the best thing that ever happened? Of course, it sucked, but because of that, something new evolved, right?
Yeah.
So you see this a lot and that's also I think the ebb and flow of life that something new comes from. Even you're like, oh my God, how could what am I gonna
Yeah.
do? This is horrible. And then you're like, the one door opened, one door closed, and another one opened, and you can't
Yeah.
see. Sometimes you get stuck, and you can't. You just plow ahead.
Absolutely. And I see it as in a very in a different way also, like if I add some spirituality angle to it, like because when you have the vision and when you are capable of doing something, when you have that passion, then I would just say that universe makes this path for yourself. Sometimes it gives you so many challenges, or it
Sure,
makes the situation so difficult to live that there is no way to live in that
it
situation,
forces
and you
you.
have to
Forces
actually
you.
you have to absolutely, it pushes you
Hmm.
out from your comfort zone and to look for some new spaces
Hmm.
where you actually belong. So I think this is how I see that universe work. Yeah.
Well, that was similar. I mean, my old job, I really liked my old job. I liked my old company, but it was kind of getting monotonous and kind of boring.
Yeah.
Even though even though I wanted, I left or whatever, but I wanted to stay. But really, what wasn't good for me was not to stay, but I wanted to because it was comfortable, right? But
Yeah.
that wasn't the right place. But yes, I was call it the universe, call it whatever you want.
Yeah.
It was just like, okay, you got no choice, pal. Here you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's you need a push actually
The
to go
shelf.
out from this.
Shelf. Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, we can actually go on and on about this topic because it's actually much needed and there's a lot and lot to talk about. But unfortunately, the time is running out. So before I actually close the show, I would just ask you that what one piece of advice would you like to give everyone today who's listening to the show to walk away with to
Sure,
have
sure.
the betterment of this? Yeah.
Sure. So I want to guarantee something. You should never guarantee anything, okay? But I'm going to guarantee something,
Okay.
right? I'm going to say, if you're not feeling good, and when I was not feeling good, I would tell the people I can guarantee two things. One, I don't know when this is going to change. I cannot tell you the time.
Yeah.
But secondly, I know 100% it will change because everything is
Yeah.
temporary. So no matter if you're feeling like crap right now, again, I can't tell you exactly when it's going to change, but I will guarantee it will change and you will feel better.
Yes, I think this is such a wonderful advice that I think this makes I'm sure that whoever is listening, I'm sure it makes them smile that it's not it
These are
is
just facts. This is not
yeah,
even
yeah,
me preaching. I'm just
absolutely.
saying this is how it works.
Yeah, absolutely. Because nothing is permanent. Everything
Mhm,
is temporary and it will change definitely.
mhm, mhm.
So, and what is the best place or what is the best way to reach out to you or to connect with you?
Really, two ways. So go to the real.care and
Okay.
then LinkedIn. I'm always on LinkedIn, so it's just my name,
Yeah.
Shawn Lesser, like you see
Yeah. Yeah.
in the thing
So,
here.
yeah, absolutely. So I've just shared it in the ticker as well and
You're
also in
very
the
quick.
comments. So yeah, so whoever it is, whoever wants to join with Shawn Lesser and the Real movement. I mean, the Real is really a great initiative, and I
Thanks.
really love that people like you are leading this initiative because it's much needed, especially in this era when this mental health issues is can become really it's an epidemic, right?
Of
So
course, of
it's
course.
not something that because physical health or physical problems can be identified, people go to doctor, but when they actually suffer with or having some mental health problem, it's they don't know where to go, they don't even know that what's happening to them, so they
Hmm.
need to have certain place or a safe place where they can
Hmm.
actually share. So I'm
Sure.
so grateful to you all, we're grateful for actually having this kind of a platform where people can share very safely and feel secure, have that
Mhm.
safety, psychological
Yeah.
safety is very much important. So yeah, thanks a lot. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Henry. Bye.
Yeah, thank you for having this conversation. And I'm
Of
sure that
course.
the audience must have also enjoyed a lot because we got a lot of good comments. So thank you so
Okay, good.
much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Okay, bye.